following 6 types of involvement, it asks us to reflect on our school's strengths and weaknesses for these 6 parameters. So it's parenting, communicating, volunteering, learning at home, decision-making, and collaborating with the community. Before you guys answer, I gave out a survey, an inventory for these 6 elements to a couple staff members who just filled it out anonymously. And the strengths that we showed were in communicating. It was a scale from 1 to 5. And a lot of the metrics, our communication is really consistent and really accessible, whether it's the website, Cool Sys, phone blasts, and collaborating with the community. We got a lot of 4s, 3s, and 5s, but in the areas that we were really, I gave out 4, so they gave them back to me. In the areas that we had some 1s and 2s were in decision-making and parenting. So decision-making is obviously involving all stakeholders, namely parents, in the decision-making process. And for parenting, it's a lot of it is based on giving the parents resources. So we've started to do some of that, with our parent college. And again, this is not indicative of what's really happening at the school. This is just for survey replies from 4 individuals who work at the school. So what do you think our school's strengths and weaknesses are?
I agree with the collaboration with the community, and the communicating, and I feel like that's kind of, it's interesting that it went from, so communication is strong, collaboration with the community is strong, but then parenting isn't. When considering and decision making, when we have the school site council, but I think the problem is that it's the same parents.
Yeah,
It's the same
that's what it was.
Where it feels really strong, but it's always the same, like 6 to 10 parents that want to be really, really involved and help do things and help make decisions. But then it's a lot of other parents that do not access the information.
Who don't have the time, or who just aren't as present on the
Right.
day-to-day. And that's one of the questions also talks about in that same parenting column, talks about like making parent leaders. How do we like establish parent leaders so it's not just volunteering, but really parent advocacy of the school too?
Well, I think I have to, piggyback on what the surveys, the results, and what you just mentioned. I feel that we haven't developed a system to allow those other parents to take ownership and to really allow them to have that leadership. Because right now we have a lot of volunteering opportunities, and so those that are able to have taken advantage of that. And that is those parents that we see here every single day that are in the classrooms. But now we wanted to build leaders, then we have to create something. I think at one point a parent asked, do you have like town hall meetings type of style of opportunities for us to come together, and maybe on a systematic monthly basis. We haven't yet kind of figured out the time, the place that it helps most of the parents. So I don't know if maybe a survey or something can be given out to find out how would we get more parents to give input.
That's actually in line with one of the other questions in terms of number 3. You'll see what barriers to involvement for the following stakeholders. I think we all know the gym. Once it's finished, we have a meeting place. Something I was thinking about that you brought up, Laura, is the panorama surveys give us a lot of great feedback, and it's a 2-way communication type in the sense that they give us feedback and we can respond to it. It's only given once a year because it's such a huge undertaking to collect all that data. But if you could pick like specific topics, maybe the ones that we've struggled in with the satisfaction rates, and give that out, then we can get more feedback, more data to inform, our WAS action plan, the school growth plan, all those accountability plans. So what do you guys think are some barriers to involvement for students and parents specifically?
I would say for parents, just to keep going with what we were talking about, is having a consistent place, so the gym will help with that. But then the other problem is parking.
Yeah.
That's definitely a barrier that keeps people from wanting to come, because they know that if it's during the school day or sometime close to it, that most teachers will still be here, so those parking spots are not available. So they park behind the teachers, or we ask them to park across the street and have to do that 10-minute walk.
They just don't want to do the 10-minute walk.
And they don't, or do the illegal cross.
Jaywalking, yeah.
Yes. So I mean, something that I know I wasn't a big part of that conversation last year about, if we can get a crosswalk put in, that would help a lot. Because then it's not as big of, then I think people would be more open.
Yeah.
to parking that far, like not that far away, but parking across the street and not having to do I think it's the 10-minute walk that is the worst part of that. But if we knew that, yes, you can use that parking and then you can use our crosswalk and we can continue to use the parent volunteers for that kind of stuff, I think that would be helpful to to increasing parent involvement. Because that was definitely the principal, copy with the principal one time that I went.
So we used to have really
That was
good
a
turnout for the
conversation.
coffee with the principal, right?
We
I
did.
remember last year, even into like second semester, you had a lot of like different faces, and parents would sometimes show up once, but you saw a lot of variety.
Yes.
I stopped by a couple this time, and the numbers overall have dwindled. You have that core group, the parents who volunteer, who are always here,
Right.
and then the people they know, but you're losing a lot of like the variety. So I
Yeah.
don't know if, again, it's just because of parking, or because you have that core group of parents who are always here, and other parents look at them for whatever reason, think like, oh, they're the most active voice in the school, and they don't want to like butt heads with them. That's just
Right.
something I've noticed.
That's
Yeah.
true. Or like, they'll just tell me later.
Exactly.
I don't have to be there.
Exactly.
They'll tell me later.
They rely on certain mouthpieces to give the information,
Right.
which we can't help, but at the same time, people always put their own spin on things,
Right.
whether intentionally or not, which I think led to a lot of disputes and a lot of concerns between parent groups and between teachers and parents, because they were hearing things in those meetings and then passing them off as either fact or as something like one of us said, when really
Right.
we were just like answering a question
Right.
or giving a suggestion.
So I think that one of the barriers from this year that would have helped prevent some of those misunderstandings or transferring of information that isn't factual or true, would have been having a follow-up. So
Yeah.
if we had someone to actually, even a parent, having a parent take notes at every one of these meetings
Yeah.
and task them
That's
to
a simple but good idea.
to share it, to share out minutes. Here are the monthly minutes from Coffee with the Principal, and here's your Google Doc, feedback. Click on this if you wanna, you can be here, but you like to share out.
That's a great idea.
Or tell us what you think about what happened, or something wasn't
Yeah.
clear. That would allow that two-way communication to kind of
Yeah.
expand on a monthly basis. So you don't have your town hall meeting, but you still have this digital
Yeah, that's
way
an
of-
awesome, just use Google Forms, and I know people are talking about making like a parent corner, but
Yeah,
if we
we
had
were
it in the
talking-
library, we
I was
had
gonna bring that up.
computers in the library anyways, just have parents fill out like a simple Google form,
Right.
and they can give feedback that way. That way, it wouldn't be based on like, if you can make coffee with the principal, you can go in any time, and here's the agenda, here are the items, you can provide your input, and it'd be kind of like the SSC. This is on the agenda, so we'll speak on it, we'll open it up for, maybe not public comment, but at least address it if it's a repeating